Hello everyone, I'm David Mash and welcome to this series of videos on the Korg ARP2600 module. So today we're going to look at the sample and hold module and see what it does and how we can use it for interesting musical effects. So here is the sample and hold module. Basically what the sample and hold circuit does is it looks at a given incoming signal at a certain rate of time, and for each time it takes that sample, it uses that voltage as a control output. So if we look here, we see here's the input to the sample and hold, and by default it is the noise generator, but again with everything on the 2600 we can override that simply by using a patch cord. And so here we have the internal clock rate and the level of this signal coming into the sample and hold. So at the interval of the internal clock, we'll get a sample on every one of the ticks of the clock. And then that sample comes out the output, which is right here, the sample and hold output, and then we can take that to a variety of places. We also have the output of the internal clock, and we have an external clock input so that we can gate the internal clock with something coming in from the outside. So let's just start with a very simple sound. I'll take the VCO1 into the filter. I'll take the VCF into the filter and I'll open it up. And without doing any more patching, I'm going to turn the noise generator up to maximum and white noise, and then I'm going to take the sample and hold output in to VCO1. So it sounds kind of random, and what is happening is at this particular rate we're taking a sample of a frequency inside the noise signal and using that to control the pitch of VCO1. Very useful, especially if we put an envelope on it. So let's put an envelope into the filter and into the amplifier, and let's make a very simple envelope. And let's gate the envelope using the internal clock. So that's here. Likewise, I could take another oscillator into the filter. And so these two oscillators are being modulated, the frequencies are being modulated at different amounts. Makes kind of an interesting sound. I could almost tune them. Okay. The next thing let's take a look at is let's try sampling a different signal. Let's take a low frequency sawtooth wave from VCO3, and if you think about the shape of the sawtooth wave, there's a steady rise and then a decline, steady rise, then a decline. So I'm going to make this simpler and just use it to control VCO1. So now it seems less random because we're actually tracking the shape of the sawtooth wave. Now the interesting thing is, what happens if we change the interplay between the speed of the internal clock sampling and the actual speed of the low frequency oscillator? So what I'm doing is I'm just changing the relative frequency between the internal clock and the low frequency sawtooth wave. I can get these arpeggio likes, I can get scale. Pretty fun thing to play with. And then, we were doing very simple things, which is sampling two different sources. One is the noise source, and the second source was the sawtooth wave. You could try pulse waves, you could try the triangle waves, you could try a sine wave, you could try audio. You could bring audio in to the preamplifier and take that output into the input to the sample and hold the audio, and you get some interesting effects from that. The nice thing is to try to find a way that you can actually predict what you're going to get and then apply that to a musical use. We've only been doing it for the pitch, but for instance, very simply, we could take the sample and hold output as well to the filter. And it's actually even more interesting when you use the random effect with the noise generator. In this case, only every now and then does the voltage from the sample and hold open the filter. Sometimes it's very low. You can actually make some pretty interesting percussive sounds this way. So you get the hang of it. Now try some experiments yourself and see what kinds of interesting sounds you can create. Okay, I hope you found this interesting and stimulating. Maybe you'll go make some great sounds with your 2600. And if you did like this, please check out my website, machine.com. Play on my name, David Mash, Machine. I play with machines. I also make music under the name Machine Music, and you can find my music on Apple Music and Spotify and wherever else you find your digital streams and downloads. You can also find some of my music on machine.com, as well as some music videos and more videos like these. Okay, I hope you found this useful. Take care. Be safe.